Young workers really are not faring well in this economy, and yet 1 in 4 of all workers in Los Angeles is a young worker. This study actually has been a year-long study with students and worker leaders looking at young workers in Los Angeles, ages 18 to 29. We were really interested in understanding the service sector economy, knowing that about half of young workers are employed in the low-wage industries, and we really wanted to understand what's going on, what's their experiences, and dispel some of the myths about young workers.
So the first thing we found is that young people who work to live, not to play. Almost half of them are supporting families. A lot of them are paying rent. A lot of them are paying for school. And they actually really need this income in order to be able to survive in a city like Los Angeles. We found that 9 out of 10 young workers don't have a set schedule. Our study also found that half of workers are expected to be on call. And again, it perpetuates this idea that, well, they're young, so they're always available. And we think that it's really important to acknowledge that young people, just because they're young, also have responsibilities.
And finally, our study actually looks at the working conditions. And unfortunately, it replicates what low-wage work is all about. A third were not being paid overtime. A quarter did not receive all the hours that they were supposed to be paid for. We found that there was just rampant wage theft, wages being stolen, workers working for free. And so we have to pay attention to this. And if young workers are not receiving the wages that they deserve, if their schedules are completely erratic where they can't count on their earnings or be able to have a sustainable life, and if they're just, working only to sustain their families under deplorable conditions, this is not sustaining the economy. We wanted to paint a more positive picture of this story. It's quite a pessimistic one. Researchers in this study who are UCLA students, this was a very personal experience for them. This is the story of their life. This is their own working experience, their brothers and sisters' experience, and their parents' experience.
I think that young workers gave us an insight into what they were really facing and their experiences in the workplace. And it's a great, great way to get to know what's really happening and what they really want.
We have to shed a light on young workers and their working conditions. We found that more than half of them give money to their families. So it's not just that they're working for that pocket change, they're actually working to sustain a living, to sustain their families.